shall not pass!
Hey everyone, this is Decadent Gamer, and in today's video, I'm going to be counting down my personal top 10 goth characters in animation. Before I begin, I'm going to be honest. When it comes to goth characters, I think of them more as gothic rather than goth. To me, I feel that a goth is someone who is into goth music as well as the darker things in life, whereas someone who is gothic or darkly inclined is someone who just happens to be into the darker things of life, but not necessarily the music from the subculture. However, as much as I don't consider some of these characters as quote-unquote goth, I'm going to use the term but imply it with a grain of salt. That all said, let's get on with Decadent Gamer's top 10 goths in animation. Oh, one more thing. The goth kids from South Park won't be included on this list. Don't get me wrong, the goth kids rock, and I love their satire, but they'd be an obvious choice, so for this list, they get an honorable mention. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go. Starting off my list at number 10 is Darcy from the Winx Club.
Sometimes I forget how pretty I am.
I gotta say that I wasn't a big fan of this show. It's pretty much a poor man's Sailor Moon in my opinion, and I found most of the characters to be annoying. However, I did find myself liking the Tricks trio, and more specifically Darcy, the Lady of Darkness. The Tricks were a trio of sibling witches who were the main antagonists of the show. The group consisted of the oldest sister, Icy, who was pretty much a stone-cold bitch, and served as the leader of the group. Then there was the hot-headed, short-tempered younger sister, Stormy. And last but not least, the mischievous, calm middle sister, Darcy. I really liked how calm and coy she was, while at the same time being very manipulative and cunning. I tend to like characters like this, so it was a given that Darcy would naturally appeal to me. I also found her power of dark magic and shadow manipulation to be very cool, though honestly, all three of the witches' powers were all equally great. And last but not least, I loved her voice, as it really added that extra oomph to her character.
You see what I see?
This guy's got a major attitude problem. I like him.
So as much as I didn't like the Winx Club all that much, I can't deny how cool I thought Darcy was as a character, and I just had to include her on this list. But again, I don't really consider her or any of the other witches as quote-unquote goths, just gothic at best. Coming in at number 9 is Cassandra from Disney's Hercules the Animated Series.
Walmart is right over there. Beware, aisle 5. The dark specter of death awaits you in the Husky Boys department. Have a nice day.
Despite being gloomy and a bit antisocial, she was very caring and she often acted as a mentor for Hercules whenever he needed advice. She also had the ability to see the future, though her visions usually saw disasters, but unfortunately due to a curse that was placed upon her, no one would ever believe them. I found Cassandra to be an enjoyable character as I really enjoyed her sarcasm and how she was very loyal to her friends as she would look out for them. Ironically enough, the show did feature a more stereotypical goth character in one episode named Electra. While I loved her design, I didn't like her personality all that much because she was way too stereotypical.
Electra, it bums me to see you sitting here alone.
We're all alone. It's the nature of this cruel existence.
Now don't get me wrong, there were a few things I liked about her character, like how she believed in freedom of expression, but her constant negativity was a huge turnoff. In the episode, Hercules develops a small crush on her and tried to change himself in order to get her to like him. Throughout the episode, Cassandra obviously disapproved and kept telling Hercules that he should be himself. At the end of the episode, Hercules learns that he shouldn't be something he's not, and to stay true to who he is at heart. This is why I loved Cassandra, because while it was apparent that she was into the gothic scene, she didn't wear it on her sleeve, and the writers treated it as merely one of her interests. To me, that's good character writing, and because of that, she's definitely one of my all-time favorite gothic influenced characters. Coming in at number 8 is Lydia Deetz from the Beetlejuice TV cartoon.
Though I know I should be wary, still I venture someplace scary. Ghostly haunting, I turn loose. Beetlejuice! Beetlejuice! Beetlejuice!
Lydia's pretty much the first animated goth girl who started it all. I have to admit that I didn't watch the show much as a kid, but from the few episodes I caught, I thought it was a pretty good show, and I really liked Lydia as a character. Lydia's personality was very likable because it contrasted with her gothic look. Instead of being dark and cynical, she was fun-loving and caring. Like I mentioned earlier, Lydia is pretty much the first animated goth character, and she paved the way for other gothic-type characters, so she definitely deserved a spot on this list. Coming in at number 7 is Sam from Danny Phantom. Sam was one of Danny's best friends, and it was later revealed that she had a secret crush on him, and at the end of the show, they become an official couple. We also learned that Sam's parents are very wealthy, but she kept it as a secret as she didn't want to have fake friends, which was a great breakaway from the spoiled wealthy brat stereotype. Sam seems to be a mixed bag. I've come to notice that a lot of people in the subculture don't think of her as a goth, and I can see where they're coming from, as she appears to be more of a neo-hippie activist, what with her extreme environmental beliefs. For me, as far as goth goes, I find Sam more gothic than goth because it's pretty obvious she's into the dark and macabre, but again, that's just my opinion. All controversy aside, I included Sam on this list because she was a main character who was included in every episode of the show, and if all else, served as a gateway for kids who were curious about the gothic subculture. So while I don't consider her a goth, I found her gothic demeanor mixed with her neo-hippie mentality very unique. Number 6 goes to Gwen from the Total Drama series. Man, I still remember when the show was getting overly hyped for its debut, and how stupid I thought it was going to be. Granted, I still found the show really stupid, but I actually found myself enjoying it quite a bit, namely the first 2 seasons. The show's cast consisted of teenagers who fell into typical stereotypes, competing against each other for the grand prize of $1 million. You had the cool guy, the stuck-up mean girl, the dumb blonde, the jock, and the nerdy guy, to name a few, but among them, there was also the token goth girl Gwen. Though she hated it, Gwen auditioned for the show after getting dared by her brother, and was later selected as a contestant. She ended up being on the Screaming Gophers team, and proved herself to be one of their strongest competitors. In fact, she made it all the way to the final 2 in the competition. Despite Gwen's initial loner attitude, she was shown to be intelligent, artsy, and pretty down to earth. She was just very cautious of who she opened up to, and because of this, I found her to be a very relatable character. In fact, she was also one of the more level-headed characters on the show. Since I found Gwen to be a relatable character, at least in the first season of the series, I had to give her a spot on my list. Coming at number 5 is Yumi from Code Lyoko. In the show, one of the main characters was a girl named Yumi, who was pretty much a token goth character. Though seemingly tough and standoffish, Yumi was a warm-hearted, intelligent, and a reliable person who was always looking out for her friends. She was also shown to be skilled in martial arts. Being the oldest in the group, she was the more responsible and mature member of the team. On Lyoko, she fought with a pair of steel fans, and she was a pretty formidable fighter with her acrobatic prowess. I found her to be another good representation of a goth. Coming in at number 4 are the Hex Girls from the Scooby Doo franchise. The Hex Girls were a quote-unquote eco-goth rock band. The band consisted of 3 members. There was Desk the drummer, Luna the keyboardist, and Thorn the vocalist and lead guitarist, as well as the leader of the group. They made their debut appearance in the Scooby Doo animated film Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost, and they made another appearance in Scooby Doo and the Legend of the Vampire. They also made one more appearance in a Western Scooby Doo episode, and later made a reappearance in Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated. For an animated band, their music is pretty good and fun to sing along to. Their music isn't really goth, but more alternative rock with a hint of pop, but in saying that, I still enjoy it very much. The thing I like most about them is that they didn't fall into the stereotype of goths being negative and depressing. In fact, the girls are pretty down to earth and friendly for the most part. I especially like this because this parallel was shown in the Witch's Ghost movie, more specifically with Thorn. In the movie, the gang initially thought that they were evil witches, especially Thorn when they saw her performing a Wiccan ritual. Of course, when they finally confront them, the gang learns that it was all a huge misunderstanding. The Hex Girls were a positive representation of goths in my opinion. I would love to see the Hex Girls get their own TV series spin-off in the future someday. Number 3 goes to Rogue from X-Men Evolution.
Normal? Look at me, I look fat! Do I look that fat to you?
Shh, pipe down, would you?
I'm a huge fan of X-Men, and X-Men Evolution was definitely my favorite X-Men spin-off. The Rogue from the original X-Men comics and the 90s cartoon was a southern sassy country girl, but in her X-Men Evolution revamp, they changed her into a reclusive, sensitive, and moody goth. When you take her mutant superpower into account, that pretty much prevents her from having any physical contact. It's pretty understandable why they gave her this personality. Admittedly, Rogue was pretty stereotypical in the first few episodes of the show, but as it went on, she became more open to those around her, and that's what I really liked about her character. Personally, Rogue was the first goth character I ever saw in a cartoon, so she holds a lot of sentimental value to me. And I thought it was cool how they implied that she was into the Gothic subculture, what with her Dracula books and her locker full of macabre beauty magazines and music CDs. I just found her revamp to be very nicely done, and I found her to be very relatable. Having said all this, Rogue is definitely one of my all-time favorite goth characters, as she felt pretty authentic as you watch her grow as a character. Number 2 goes to Raven from Teen Titans.
Try. The displeasing taste will ease your troubled mind.
My mind is never troubled. People come, people go. It's pointless to be upset about Cyborg. What?
Now I'm going to say this. I consider Raven more Gothic than I do Goth. Anyway, when it comes to dark heroines, Raven is definitely my first choice. Raven was a sarcastic, quiet, and seemingly emotionless character in the beginning of the show. However, as the series went on, she became less antisocial and pessimistic and more open. For the most part, I found her to be one of the most relatable characters I've ever felt connected with in a cartoon series. The scene that really got to me was this one in the episode Spellbound.
Oh, Raven, come on! Why can't you just have fun like normal people? Why are you always locked in your dark room reading your nasty old books? Why do you have to be so creepy?
Forget it, B. Leave her alone.
I'm not creepy. I'm just different.
Seriously, that really struck a chord with me, and from then on, Raven became my favorite character. I am pretty sure that a lot of people watching this are pissed that Raven isn't number 1, but as much as I love her, there was one more character that I really liked and felt deserved the number 1 spot. Nevertheless, Raven is and always will be one of my all-time favorite Gothic characters ever made. And finally, my number 1 is Serena from Downtown.
This is how I usually dress. I didn't want you to know because...
Hey, I'd be the last person to judge somebody by their clothes. Come on, look at me.
Downtown was a short-lived series that ran on MTV in 1999 that only had 1 season before its cancellation towards the end of the year. It's pretty much regarded as a one-season wonder. Anyway, Serena was one of the main characters on the show, as she filled in as a token goth character, and the love interest of the main character Alex. Serena was down-to-earth, friendly, and generally positive, which is what I really loved about her character. The fact that they didn't go for the blatant stereotype of being depressing and pessimistic was a breath of fresh air. Remember when I said in the beginning of the video that I felt that the writers who make goth characters don't know much about the goth subculture other than the stereotypes? Well, that doesn't apply here. The main reason why Serena is my number 1 choice pertains to the series for now. In the episode, Serena and Alex bond over a conversation, and in it, she expresses how she feels that goth has been misconstrued over the years, and how she's tired of people judging her based on how she looks.
Thanks, but it gives people really weird ideas about me. Like I must worship Satan or something. I mean, I do have a pagan worldview, but that's not the same thing. Or they're like, hey baby, suck my blood. As if I'm some poser Anne Rice freak, or some spooky Marilyn Manson groupie. You know, the pentagram has been so misconstrued.
Later on, she drops her gothic look and favored to look normal. Much to the disappointment of Alex, who had to contemplate whether he liked Serena for who she was or just for her gothic look. In the end, Serena reverts back to her old appearance and pretty much exclaims that she missed it, and that it's just a part of who she is. I feel that a lot of us who are into the subculture go through this kind of thing, wondering if we're hiding who we are behind the look and our interests, only to learn that it's just a part of who we are and what we're into. This episode really hit home for me, and solidified how relatable this character was. In my opinion, Serena is the best representation of a goth that I've ever seen in a cartoon series. The writers did a great job with her despite the show only having 13 episodes, and for all these reasons, that is why Serena is my number 1 goth character. Hey there everyone, thanks a lot for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, and if you'd like to see more content, please subscribe as it really helps this channel out a lot. In the meantime, why not check out some of my other videos on the description screen. Again, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. See ya!